Have you ever seen a hole in reality? I have. Picture a normal college setting, a lecture hall with 50 students, maybe more. The professor's droning on about mathematics. One moment the guy on my left was speaking, the next there was a hole in his head. That is to say, a hole in reality where his head had been. It appeared with a deafening buzzing noise. That's the sound of reality and unreality clashing with each other. Non-existence intruding in the realm of existence. All at once, everyone in the room covered their ears. Students piled at the exits, attempting to flee from that which they couldn't understand. I only glanced at the hole before turning away, revulsion wrenching my stomach. Describe it? I'll do my best. It hung in the air, a perfectly flat disc and black, blacker than pitch, blacker than blackest midnight. So black that one guy went blind from looking too long. It destroyed his vision and overrode it with black. All he can see is that terrible black. Could see, that is. He killed himself 2 days ago. He's not the only one. I sit awake some nights alone, staring down the barrel of a gun, an empty bottle of rum beside me. Pull the trigger, I tell myself. Pull the trigger and it will be gone. Gone from your constant nightmares, gone from every waking moment you spend trying to forget but can't, because it's imprinted forever in your mind. That awful, dreadful thing you weren't ever supposed to see. But then I think, what if it's waiting for me when I kill myself? For all of us. What if that's what death is, and that thing in the classroom was a piece of death forcing its way into what we call life? I can't subject myself to that. If I could find a way to live forever so I never have to experience it again, I would. Even if it meant living like this. The hole isn't something you can patch up, it's still there, but the buildings have been closed off. That buzzing can still be heard from outside if you listen closely. Those of us who were there in the classroom are the only ones who know why you can't go in. Other people are curious, but so far nobody has been curious enough to look. I hope it stays that way. And that poor guy is still sitting there, as if class never ended, blissfully unaware of everything. Or maybe he is aware, but I don't want to think about that. Will the hole eventually close on its own? Will it expand? Nobody knows. Nobody even knows why it appeared in the first place, or why the others appeared either. I've heard about 5, but I'm sure there are more. You want my opinion? I think something's making these holes, trying to puncture its way through, and there's nothing any of us can do about it. I was at a party when I first saw her. I was a little more than a little drunk, and dancing in the middle of a group of girls who, like me, wanted to avoid the hands of overconfident drunk guys. Normal situation, normal night for us. That's when I noticed the girl, and my mind seemed to block out everything but her at that moment. She looked just like me. One of my friends bumped into me while I was staring, and I ended up losing sight of her. I was drunk. I could have been staring at my reflection in a mirror for all I knew, so I shrugged it off. I stumbled on my way back to the dorm and with my roommate, Megan, and we both fell asleep as soon as we hit our beds. The next morning, I awoke to an abundance of text messages, almost all of them about similar topics. You were acting really strange last night. Who was that guy you were with? Did you make it home okay? Concern and confusion flooded my inbox, and I had no idea why. I'd had a few drinks, I danced with my friends, and then I went home. There was no guy, there was no acting strange, and there should have been no worry about me walking a few blocks home with my roommate. I remembered the entire night, and none of these messages made sense. I responded to everyone in confusion, and most of them dropped it, assuming it must have been someone who looked similar. There were a few who pressed on. One even sent a picture. It looked like me, from behind at least. Whoever it was pressed up against a guy. I disproved that person by sending a picture of myself last night, wearing an obviously different outfit from the girl in the photo. I used the same method to calm everyone else down. They had all seen a girl who looked like me, but hadn't been dressed like me. The situation stressed me out first thing in the morning, but the day wasn't over yet. Megan and I left to head over to our friend's apartment, and I received a phone call on the way. I don't remember the entire conversation, but it was a guy who said I'd given him this number last night. I told him he was given the wrong number. I didn't start getting concerned until we got to the apartment and our friend Amy answered the door. She gave me a confused look. "Did you forget something?" she asked me. "What? Last weekend? I don't think so. I texted you this morning that I was coming over," I responded in confusion. "Danielle, you literally just left like 10 minutes ago," she replied. "I've been with her, that's not possible," Megan cut in. Amy looked back and forth between the two of us. "Okay, I don't have time to be fucked with today. I need to study." She closed the door, and we stood there, dumbstruck. "Wow," I attempted to fill the silence in the hallway. "That was weird, but whatever. Let's just leave," Megan responded as she started walking towards the stairs. The rest of the day went fine. An average Sunday spent lounging in our room. I had class next morning and I attempted to get to bed early. I had the strangest nightmare that night. I was walking around, going about my day as normal, but everyone I tried to talk to seemed to be unable to hear me. I would scream and they would look at me oddly. As the dream progressed, people stopped being able to see me and I wandered around like a lonely ghost. The dream ends when I see my reflection, except that there was a smooth blank plane instead of a face. I woke up wondering how I saw without any eyes. The dream was unsettling, and I found myself hard to wake up from it. I managed to get up on time, but somehow I still ended up leaving late. I still had time before class, but I'd be cutting it close. I felt exhausted, and I needed something to fix that before class. Every morning I stopped in the small coffee shop and ordered the same thing, but when I walked up to the counter, I was met with a confused glance. "Did you spill your drink? I gave you your usual order just 5 minutes ago." I wasn't sure what to tell the barista, so I just admitted to spilling the drink and needing another one. I got my drink and left confused. I didn't understand what was happening. I was a few minutes late to class, but the professor hadn't started the lecture yet. Things were fine, and the rest of the day seemed normal, and I had the same dream that night. The next morning, I ended up late to another class, and I needed to hand in an assignment immediately. I quickly walked up to the desk, searching my bag for it as I went. I couldn't find it, and I apologized as I reached his desk. "You already handed that in." "I did?" "Yes, when you first got into class, he gave me a look of concern, and I just walked away nodding." I could barely pay any attention during that class, wondering what was happening to me. I sat in the back of the room, and I could swear I saw a girl who looked like me sitting several rows away. I couldn't find her when class ended, but the rest of the day went smoothly. I had that dream again, but this time it was faster. I woke up feeling paranoid, and throughout the day I was told that I was in places which I wasn't. I went to explain to the library that I needed time to find the book that I had to return, but they told me I had already returned it the day before. I needed to buy a textbook for a class and went back to my dorm to grab my wallet. I found my wallet sitting on top of the textbook I needed, the receipt beside it on my bed. I skipped the class and went out to eat dinner, but somehow I lost my phone. When I got back to the dorm, my phone was sitting on the table, open to a recording of a lecture I'd missed. I thought maybe I was being stalked, and I fell asleep paranoid that night. Once again, the dream taunted me. Thursday was a mixture of the previous few days, and I found myself stressed over the entire situation. I felt like I was going insane. Another night of dreaming I was fading away. Which brings me to yesterday, where things started to become progressively more strange. I went to all my classes, and I spoke to several of my professors who wondered why I emailed them assignments in more than once. I told them I must have hit something wrong while sending. Several of those professors, as well as a few of my friends, asked if I was losing my voice. I'm not sure what they meant because I think I sound fine, but they acted like I was whispering. Then came the evening when I went to go back to my dorm room. I couldn't find my key, but I could hear Megan talking to someone in the room. As many times as I knocked, no one seemed to hear it. I ended up walking down the hall and running into another friend who was headed into her room. She let me spend the night. I had the dream again, even faster. I woke up early even though I had no classes in the morning. I searched everywhere for my keys and was relieved when I found them, stupidly enough, in the bottom of my bag. I got back to my room and was prepared to fall into my bed for a much needed nap, but it was occupied. So now I'm sitting here in the library typing this up on my phone. I asked the librarian if I could use the computer, but she kept telling me to speak up and gave up on that idea. This girl in my bed, and she looks just like me. I don't know what to do or why she's here, or why I seem to be slowly fading out of my own life. I need help. I have no idea what's happening, but it seems like that nightmare is coming true. The only thing I'm sure of is that I don't want to see my reflection.